Aloha. Welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. We're so glad to have you here. Ekomo mai. Now here's our podcast host and award-winning author, Michelle.
Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It is morning here in Hawaii. Give me 1 second. I just got on and I am prepping because I didn't realize that my whiteboard still had writing on it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over his method of time management. So what I titled Master Your Mindset, Manage Your Time, Alignment with 2026. Why didn't I say master your time? It's because you can't really master time because things happen that is out of your control, and we just have to manage with whatever we're given. So that's why I entitled today's session Master Your Mindset, Manage Your Time. Okay. Master your mindset, manage your time. So I want to honor your time. And this is going to be about an hour, maybe a little bit over, but no longer. It is the weekend, and I know that we all have things to do, especially on the weekend. If everybody, if you're having today off, we all plan our things around our days off. And today is my day off also. So I want to honor your time. Like I said, it's going to be about an hour. I won't be able to teach everything about mindset, time, or planning today. But what I will do is I will give you a framework and a way of thinking that will immediately change how you approach your days, your weeks, and this entire next year. By the end of this hour, you'll understand why time feels so hard, how to filter what actually matters, and how I personally built a realistic Covey inspired schedule for my year. And that is why I came here to share with you today. So if you're ready, type ready in the comments. And if you're on the replay, type ready in the comments. Anyway, I love to see that. Let us begin. So part 1, the real problem. The real problem is that time isn't the issue. Time really isn't the issue. What is the issue is urgency. So we have to look at busy compared to productive, right? Looking at motivation compared to clarity. Calendars reflect values, not intentions. In Psalm 90:12, the word tells us to teach us to number our days. Teach us to number our days. What steals your time more right now? What steals your time more right now is probably like overwhelm or procrastination. That's probably what's stealing most of your time. And that is why it feels so hard. See, I'm still so stuffy. I don't like it. But it is what it is. So like I said, you ask yourself, what is stealing more of your time right now? Is it overwhelm or is it procrastination? Actually looked up this thing just earlier. I went outside because the sunrise was pretty cool, so I had to go look, and I tried to take a picture, but it didn't come out too nice. It was okay. So you know how everything now has some kind of AI So there's Siri. Okay, I'm not talking to Siri. There's Echo. There's Alexa. There's, all kinds of stuff.
I'm not sure what you mean. How can I help?
Sorry, Echo, I'm not talking to you right now. That is my Echo.
Got it.
See? I told you. But anyway, I looked up this on Alexa, and one of the things it was saying about the time wasters, right? Overwhelm or procrastination. Ask yourself what is taking up more of your time. So as we move on to part 2, let me just go ahead and move on to part 2. Like I said, I don't want to take up so much of your time because it is really early in the morning here and no one else is really awake except for me. But anyway, Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants. If you never heard of it, do look it up. That is what this whole thing is going to be about. And I will teach on that. So let me move on to what that is. And that is why I was cleaning off my whiteboard. Okay. So let me show you a whiteboard. The Stephen Covey 4 quadrants, right? If you were to get a piece of paper or a whiteboard and you were to split it, don't mind my lines, it's not straight, into 4. Just split it like that into quadrants, right? And you had quadrant 1, quadrant 2, Q3, Q4, just like that. Now, Q1 is urgent and important. Urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, but it is important, okay? And quadrant 3 is urgent and not important. And quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. Now, if you took the time to write that out and wrote out the things that you're actually doing right now. So what's taking up your time right now? What are you doing? So urgent and important are things like fires, deadlines. There was more of an extensive list on this one when I asked Alexa. So quadrant 1, urgent and important, crisis management. What it includes is crisis, emergencies, pressing deadlines, urgent problems. The action needs to be done immediately and personally. Examples are medical emergencies, critical project deadlines, major equipment failures, and the goal is to handle efficiently, but work to minimize time spent here. You don't want to always be working in that area of urgent and important, right? Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Prevention and planning. So like I said, crisis management. Q1 is crisis management. Sorry, I can't put it up the other way. I can't write like that. And then prevention and planning, I will turn the board around after. Prevention and planning. And so prevention and planning in the second quadrant area, not urgent, but important. That would include things like planning, prevention, relationship building, skill development, strategic thinking. Action is get an end date and are done personally. Examples are exercise, learning new skills, strategic planning, building relationships. Goal is this is where you should spend most of your time, right? So if you think about it, that is where you actually should be spending more of your time. Q3 is urgent, but not important. This is where we find distractions, interruptions. These things include interruptions, some emails, non-essential meetings, other people's minor problems. The action can be delegated. You can tell other people to do this one. Non-critical phone calls, some emails, unnecessary meetings. The goal is to delegate or politely decline it when possible. Now, quadrant 4, the urgent, not important, is absolute time waste. Now, what do you think is here in the time wasters? What that includes is the mindless scrolling, the excessive TV, gossip, trivial activities. Now, this action can be completely dropped. Examples: social media browsing, excessive entertainment, sitting and watching TV for hours and hours on end, and busy work. Busy work. I was talking about it the other day, where if you know you need to get something done and you find yourself doing something else, and it's just to keep yourself busy, that it's neither urgent nor important, it is just a time waster. So the goal is to eliminate or minimize these activities. So the philosophy behind it, and I'm going to read it right from here. The philosophy behind this way of organizing your time was Covey was inspired by a quote from President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who once said, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." This insight forms the core principle of this matrix. So the key strategy is the game-changing insight is that investing more time in quadrant 2, remember I said quadrant 2, not urgent but important, is prevention and planning. Spending more time in quadrant 2 activities dramatically reduces the time you'll spend in quadrant 1. When you focus on prevention, planning, and preparation, you avoid many of the crises before they happen. For example, exercising, which is in quadrant 2, will prevent health issues and crises that will take you to quadrant 1. Strategic planning prevents last-minute scrambling that you'll do in quadrant 1. Q2, relationship building in Q2 prevents the communication breakdown in Q1. Skill building or skill development in Q2 will prevent performance issues that you have or your team has in Q1. So you want to spend more of your time in Q2. So here's the board. Q1, urgent and important, is crisis management. Q2, not urgent but important, is prevention and planning. Q3, urgent, not important, distraction. And then Q4, not urgent and not important, is time wasters. Time wasters. High impact lives aren't built in Q1. They're built protecting Q2. All right. So let me repeat that. Take a listen and remember that high impact lives aren't built in Q1. It is built protecting Q2. So think about it, write it down, look at it, and ask yourself, which quadrant are you living in most days? Are you living in Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4 on most days? Okay, so where's my cover? If you think about that and if you ask yourself truly and honestly, because I teach the ALOHA framework. If you haven't been with me before, I teach the ALOHA framework, which is what God gave me when I prayed for help in writing my book. And That is the affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. And it is in that acute awareness that we find actual change. Because if we're not aware in our behaviors, if we're not aware in the things that we're doing, if we're not aware, and if we don't call it out, then we are not going to change it. So honestly ask yourself, which quadrant are you living in most days? When you find that, you will realize where you are, and then you can start working towards moving, into Q2. Most of your time, you want to spend most of your time in that prevention and planning quadrant. Part 3 of this is teaching you the prompt that I built my year for. What I want to share is the exact prompt process that I used to begin to design my year. And I actually started this in December because I wanted to see what my year was going to look like. I wanted to plan it out before the year was actually here. So in December, I worked this all out. And that's why I wanted to show it to you and teach it to you now, because I had time to work it out for myself. And it didn't start with goals. It didn't start with a vision board, right? It started with better questions like, what did I want different from last year? What did I really want? So the first prompt was honoring reality. And that's the Q1, right? You're in Q1, honoring reality. So, sorry, I scrolled too far. Okay. See, I'm just so stuffy. I'm so sorry about the sniffling. Okay. What in my life is already non-negotiable and must be honored? This is the first question. Sorry. I had Q because I was trying to write fast. Because I was doing this when I was writing this out. I was writing it out to teach it, and I was writing it out last night. So anyway, first question is asking yourself, what in your life is already non-negotiable and must be honored? It's like, this is what I got to do. It's the non-negotiables, right? And the one thing that I wanted to make sure is that this year I wanted to actually go to church, not just online, but actually go to church. And I can't change my work hours, right? That's something that until I'm my own boss, I still have a time clock to punch in and out of. And you may too. So you have to think about that. My health is non-negotiable. I need to really consider what's going on with my health. And I cannot carry what was happening into 2025 into 2026. I need to really think about things and do better. And another thing that I had to make sure that it was a non-negotiable and it must be honored is my studying and my training. So I am now not only doing my speaking, my writing, but I am also now going into ministry. So I need to focus and put time into those things. So if your schedule ignores reality, then it will fail every time. So you need to look at what is it that is your non-negotiables first. You need to wrap your schedule around those things that are not going to change. Because if you don't, then it will fail every time. The next question that you're going to ask yourself is to identify. First, you're honoring reality, and then now you need to identify. If I consistently made space for these things, my life would look different in a year, right? what is the things? And like I was saying, I want to read my Bible more. So I want this year, no excuses. Oh, I want to read the Bible in a year. Okay. So if you consistently made space for some of these things, how would your life be different in the entire year? What would that be? Looking at that, what are those examples? For me, it's Bible in a year. It's the health and healing, and that's the H in Aloha. Like I said, affirmations and action, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, and the H is health and healing. So the H in Aloha, health and healing, is something that I know taking control of that will make my life look different in a year. Writing and speaking. I know that I am asked more to speak now. I am hosting my podcast. I am now helping other people to expand their voice through my podcast. And it truly does help them, especially if they're up and coming as a speaker or an author. It is important that they have their credentials, right? They have their social proof. And if they can be Googled, like if you think about it, Google your name, Google yourself, and see what comes up and see where you stand. So if you Google my name, you'll see where I stand. I help other people. And so yesterday I had one of my friends, and I always call people my friends. And if they're fellow believers, automatically they become my sister or my brother in Christ. So anyway, she messaged me and she wanted to talk for a bit, and she had a question. And usually when people have a question and I have time, I will give them my personal Zoom link and we hop on a call. And I know I do coaching and things like that. And I help. She wanted some help on exactly that. How do I get myself there when people Google me, right? And she goes, you're doing very well in how you set yourself up in the online space, right? I told her it does take time, but it is a strategic play on how you do things and how you set yourself up in order to be Google. So Q2 is quiet, but it is powerful. So Bible in a year, health and healing, my speaking and writing, and learning and growing. Those are the things that I had to write down or prompt in the identifying. Honor and honoring your energy. When do I have the clearest energy, right? And when do I need recovery? I did it for so long, burning the candle at both ends, working from early in the morning, stopping enough time to get ready for work, my job at TSA, working until late into early in the morning, sleeping very little, and doing it over again. Like that, right? It's just so much. But now I have to think about it. I want better in my life. So I wanted to have build days, like full build days, like on the days that I will build fully, where I can wake up and I can have 2 hours of study time. And I always will start my day off with my Bible reading, with my devotions, with my exercise time. All of those things will have to come first. Then the 2 hours of study time and all of that already planned into my day. Because I live here in Hawaii, my studies training, one of it is in Australia. And their 8 o'clock at night is now 11 o'clock at night here. So 8 o'clock at night the following day. So Monday at 11 p.m. Monday at 11 p.m. is Tuesday, 8 p.m. Australia. So I'm up. I stay up. I come home. I rush home. I get off at 10:30, get online, and I get into the training. If we're home really quick, I can rush in and change out of my uniform. Other than that, I am sitting in front of my computer training with my uniform on. That is what I do. It is how I get my training in, and I have to do it. There is no other way, right? Like I said, in the quadrants, there's things you have to do yourself. There's other things that you can delegate, but you cannot take your own training and delegate it out. You have to do it. So anyway, that's what I do. And some days, like I said, I'm in front of the computer, 11 o'clock, and it sometimes go for 2 hours. So the time difference changed, moved it to 11, so it goes to 1 o'clock. But when it was at midnight, it went to 2 o'clock. So it does push my days out, and I cannot help, right? So I have to have full build days versus the light days. So if I am up at 2 o'clock in the morning studying or doing my training, it is not very smart for me to be up early in the morning on a Tuesday. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm already up. I'm still up. So I'll just hop in bed for a few hours and then get up and do a full build day on a Tuesday. That's not going to be good. It's going to cause burnout really quick. And I want to be able to sustain this schedule that I created over the entire course of the year. You see what I'm saying? So I want to be able to sustain this throughout the course of the entire year. I can't do it if I'm going to do that. So I have full build days versus the light days. And that's what you're going to have to do also, is to look at your schedule. And if you can have consistent full days, full build days, then great, you know? So that's why some days, some mornings are lighter than other days in my schedule because of that. And that is why rest is strategic. I have to figure out where those pockets are for rest, because I realized that I need rest. I need to rest. A schedule that ignores energy will always feel heavy. And like I said, I want to be able to sustain this schedule for the entirety of the year. I don't want to burn out. I don't want to be like, oh, this is too much, and give up. So that is what I'm doing with that, honoring my own energy. And that is what you got to look at too. So going back, one is honoring reality. Identify your calling. Identify, right? Ask yourself that. Honoring your energy. Build the week. Step 4 is build the week, not just the year. So if this week is repeated for a year, what would my life look like? Right? If you think about it, if you can create a week that is repeatable, and if you teach yourself the weekly rhythm and have those hard stop times. Okay, so I'll read it out to you. So this is the way that my schedule is. This is my schedule. Okay. Official week looks like this, because I have work, right? I need to leave the house exactly at 1:15. If we leave later, then Bruce has a hard time finding parking, all this stuff. I have to have a transition time from the time I wake up, all of the things that I do. I need to stop what I'm doing so that I can get ready for work. So I have to have that time. So all of those things, that is time on a clock. You have to think about all those things. And like I said, my training in Australia with Kaylee Chu, Dale and Jerry, I have Mondays and I have Wednesdays. So my Tuesdays and Thursdays are light days. So Monday and Wednesday are full build days. From 6:30 in the morning to 7:15 is my God and grounding time. So that's where I spend that time with God, whether I'm prayer walking or I'm on my rebounder, I am doing my movements in that time. Right from 7:15 to 9:15, those 2 hours, I need to be doing my ministry training, which is International School of Ministry and Kingdom Builders Academy. And 2 hours of that. Then I go into an hour work of speaker lab. I have a 15-minute break, right? 15-minute break because you need to have a break. So you take a 15-minute break and then I go back into the income building. And it is my writing, my speaking preps, my podcast recording, whatever it is, outreach. That is between 10:30 and 12 o'clock. And at 12 o'clock is when I need to have that hard stop. I need to cut it out, be done, walk away, and then transition and prep for work at TSA. Go get ready, go pack my lunch bag, make sure my computer is packed, because then I still do some work like during my lunch or my break, whatever small little things I can do. I still plug it in where I can, and if not, it's with me. Because if I have a thought in my mind while I'm at work, I need my stuff. So anyway, I pack it up. I work 2 to 10:30 at TSA. Work 2 to 10:30. 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock is if I have, like I said, my GOBA training. Monday and Wednesday, that's when I have my GOBA training. And when the time changed, it was midnight to 2 o'clock. That's how it goes. So on Tuesday and Thursday, I don't get up at 6:30. I get an hour more of sleep. I now start at 7:30. 7:30 to 8:15, God and gentle grounding. So not so much of the harder stuff, but I still have that time, right? So it's an hour, it's 45 minutes. 7:30 to 8:15, it's only 45 minutes. So it's not an hour. So I have 45 minutes. Sorry, I said an hour. Still learning it because the year just started. It's only day 3 and I'm still working on it myself. So anyway, 2 hours of KBA and ISOM, which is the Kingdom Builders Academy and International School of Ministry, an hour of Speaker Lab. Oops, sorry, not an hour because it's a lighter day. So now we have only 45 minutes. 45 minutes of Speaker Lab. And then there's an hour of light creative work, or if I have to, take the time to rest in that time. Because what if it's just one of those days where you woke up and you were just so tired? You still get all those things done. You still need to get all of those things done because they need to be done. So it's like, don't skip leg day, those kind of things you have to be able to press through. Get up, get those things done. And if you need to rest before you get ready, yeah, take the time to rest. And then there's the 12 o'clock prep to go to work. Pack your bag, go to work, TSA. So on the light days, there's no heavy creating, there's no podcast outreach stuff, there's none of that. And then on Fridays, it's time for health and healing, creativity, catch up if needed. If truly needed, then I can catch up on the Fridays, right? Fridays, because of the scheduling and how people are in other countries, I'm looking at opening up maybe 1 or 2 live podcast recordings on a Friday. That would be my extent of work for the day. Maybe 1 or 2 podcast recordings for the lives, not just the interview sessions, but actual lives. I'm still looking into that because I do need to consider the time difference and having that for the other countries. I'm going to have to work that in to this schedule and make sure that I'm not, my calendar is not getting pushed out. And then Saturday, that is where I have more time. I can do the Q2 Quadrant 2 deep work. I can do more of that deep work. And it is like course development, my writing, podcast batching, because there's times when I have a lot of my podcasts that are sitting there, but then I need to do the editing and uploading because it's just me still. I am looking into hiring a virtual assistant. So hopefully praying that things work out this year and I'm able to actually hire and create a team that will help me with those things that I can actually move on, like in Quadrant 3, those distractions, and delegate them out to someone else. So my quadrants in the things that I'm, in, like, what are you actually doing? And the things that you're actually doing, like writing, studying, podcasting, or whatever, what are you doing? Maybe totally different. But in my quadrant 3, I need to delegate that part. The editing and uploading part can totally be done by someone else. And then strategic planning, all of those deeper work kind of things on a Saturday when I have time because I'm off of work. And Sunday is church, my reset time, and only light planning. And because I am now wanting to journal more, of course, like writing down things, Habakkuk 2:2, write down and make it plain. I want to be able to journal more and write things down. One of the things is to write down your end of your week and a reflection of your end of your week and a reflection of how you want your week to look like in the beginning of the week. And in that sense, on a Sunday, that light planning, I think that's where I'm going to put that part, is writing the beginning of the week. How would I want my beginning of the week to look, and how would I want my end of the week to look? So that is my schedule, and everyone's schedule is going to look different, of course. So I just went and scrolled so far. I was like, where am I? Yeah, where am I? Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so the shifts, the mindset shifts that I want you to take with you is urgency is a liar. Okay. Think about that. Those internal changes will create external change. So urgency is a liar. Urgent does not mean important. Remember the quadrants. Guilt is not a schedule. Just because someone wants it now doesn't mean that it's yours to carry. Pastor Mike was saying it just the other day. I am not your Sherpa. Okay. So just because it's, someone wants it now, it doesn't mean that it's yours to carry. Guilt is not a schedule. Shift your future, your future is built in Q2. In quadrant, remember that it is built in Q2. You want to spend your time in Q2. Q2 is where your growing happens. It's your calling. Your calling grows in Q2. Faith, health, study, writing, speaking, and growing your relationships, building your relationships, all is in Q2. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You literally fall to the level of your systems. So if you don't build your systems, you will fall to the level. So remember that. Okay. Remember, let me see. Okay. Let me go over this one more time. Okay. Because I want you to remember the quadrants. Quadrant 1. Anyway. Okay. Plan Q1, contain the fires. Okay, plan to contain the fires in Q1. Pick top 3 Q1 items only, time box them, and stop new fires by planning in Q2. So you don't want to live in crisis management. Remember, that is where Q1 is. Q1 is crisis management. You don't want to live in crisis management. Q2 is protect your most important, and that is Q2, right? Choose one Q2 anchor for the week. Choose one Q2 anchor for the week. Schedule it first, even for that 30 minutes. Do one and schedule and have that anchor for the week. So like I said, my Bible in the year, health walk, writing 300 words, speaker practice, whatever it is, do that. Protect your most important. And that is your Q2 plan, your quadrant 2. And Q3, plan, boundaries, delay, delegate, or decline. Delay, delegate, or decline. Okay. And you can use these 3 scripts that I'm going to give you right now. Let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you. Don't say yes right away. Don't say no right away. Feels better. If it feels better, just say, let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you. Or say, that's not aligned with my current priorities. This year, my word is alignment. And if somebody wants you to do something, it's like, that's not aligned with my current priorities right now. And just say, or I can do that next week, not today. So it's okay to delay, delegate, or decline. And that's how you're going to do, because that is Q3, quadrant 3, those distractions. And in Q4, replace, don't just remove it, because, sometimes if we just remove it, then we get all crazy wanting to go towards that even more. So replace scrolling with a walk. Replace scrolling with a prayer. Replace TV watching with journaling. Replace those distractions or those time wasters with a voice memo. Replace one of those time wasters, whatever it is, reading scripture. Just replace it. And as you do more of the other thing, the better thing, then the thing that was wasting your time is no longer there, but now you're doing something that is moving you more into your Q2. You see how much better that is. To design your ideal week, pick 2 of your Q2 blocks for the week. Pick one admin block and decide your hard stop to protect the time. Okay, protect rest. If you're working full time, your future is built in protected morning blocks or protected Saturday blocks. So you have to protect those blocks. You don't want to run your work time into those, and now you just eliminated your sacred time of rest. You have to protect those blocks. So ask yourself, what does your Q2 block look like this week? And, go with that. Go with that. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to give you is God is the God of order. He doesn't rush. He's not panicked. When we bring him into our time, when we bring him into our time, when we bring him our time, he multiplies what we give. So I always said that I was so in awe of how God works. And I took this small thing, this small space, right here where I am right now. I made space. This is the garage. If you haven't been with me before, this is literally my garage. And I am before I got this TV behind me, you would see my craft shelf. I put a shelf back here to hide the garage wall and the garage shelving. So I set up a shelf back here. Anyway, I set up this studio area that I work in, and that is the way that I did it. I set up the studio and I started talking before this whole thing. I was using the ear ones, those ear microphones, and I was recording that way. It progressively got better. Now I have a Yeti microphone, which is amazing. I love the sound on this one. And I now have lighting that helps me. Things progressively got better, but it's still such a small space, right? And I'm here in Hawaii, and the Lord was telling me that I will be speaking on stages around the world, and I will reach multitudes, and I will be reaching out to people all over the world. And I was like, how is that even possible when I am here on this little island in this small space in my garage? And I have to tell you, I sat here and I cried that day when I got off a call with someone in Spain for the first time. And I realized what God was doing. He actually showed me in that moment that I am reaching people around the world. I am actually reaching multitudes around the world. I am on stages, global and international stages, right from here in my garage. And I can speak to people all over the world. I'm on other people's platforms all over the world. That day when I got off that call with someone in Spain, I was like, that is how you're doing it, Lord. That is how you're doing it. And so it is so amazing to me. I am so amazed and I'm so in awe on what he does. So when we bring him our time, he multiplies what we give. When we bring him what we think is little, he can take that and multiply it. He can take that and multiply it. So I know we're getting a little over the time, so let me give you a scripture here. I always look up the scripture because I want to read it just right. So it says in Ecclesiastes 3:1, for everything there is a season a time for every activity under heaven. And so everything that we do, sometimes we think it's taking too long or whatever. God knows. God knows exactly the time, the place, the moment. So ask yourself and think about it. Which step stood out to you the most that I taught today? What was it? Honoring reality, protecting Q2, or honoring your energy? Which step is it? Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Write it down so that you can see it. When you write it down, it's not just so that I can see it, but it's just so that you can see it, so that you have it in you to be like, okay, I know it. My hands, I physically wrote it down. My eyes see it. I know it. So is it reality? Is it Q2? Is it your energy? Or is it your order? So, okay. Now, this is exactly the process I walk people through when we build, but I've never used this context because I just created this one. But I always ask people to look at what they need done. As I'm coaching, I always ask them, look at what you need done and what you want your year to look like. This whole thing with the with the Stephen Covey matrix, 4-quadrant matrix, I'm only implementing it more so now with me. So now I will implement it more in my teaching, in my coaching, because I know how it looks and I know how it is in putting it in AI and actually having that built out for you. So that's one thing that was really good, is that when I actually put it through AI, because we all know that AI is a tool, right? So it is how you choose to use the tool. You wouldn't call a carpenter any different if he chose to use a better hammer, or whatever. It is what it is. It is a better tool. If you are not utilizing AI, you are actually selling yourself short. So do remember that, and don't be afraid to use the artificial intelligence. Use AI, whichever one you're using. Protect your Q2s, okay? Protect Q. Try to do this 7-day reset challenge. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. 7-day reset challenge. Protect your Q2 block. Protect your Q2 block per day. Do your Bible in a year or whatever you're doing, your devotions, whatever it is, and one boundary, and do it for the week. So I have to go. It's almost 8:15. So we're about right there at the 8:15. I thought it was going to go a little bit over, but I can't teach everything today. I wish I could go into and actually show you how it is to be putting it into the prompts in the AI and showing you how it comes out. But what I've shared is the foundation. It's not a full build. It's not completely built because, like I said, I did it for myself, but I did give you the foundation of what you could use, and you can do this. I know you can. So for those of you who want to apply this and you know that you're like, I want this and I want this applied now. And so those of you who want this applied directly to your life, your schedule, your calling, your energy, and you know that this is for you, I want to offer you one-on-one coaching. Like I said in the beginning, I wasn't able to teach everything. I wouldn't be able to teach the time management, the planning, and how to build it out all in an hour. But I do offer one-on-one coaching, and we can build this out personally, one-on-one. I can help you, walk you through all of this, and actually get it done for the year. You can actually have your year planned out. My one-on-one standard rate is $150 only for a whole hour. So it's $150 for an hour, but because of the new year, I'm doing a New Year special for 50% off. So it's $75 for the hour. This is a New Year special, and this is my way of helping everyone out to start their year with clarity instead of chaos. And I know how it felt because in December, I knew that the year was coming to a close, and I was like that. I felt like I want this done. So that's why I said I built this out in December, but I'm not able to teach it all. So if you're ready to stop guessing and you want plan that actually fits you, fits your real life, you can book a one-on-one session with me. And if you look on my bio, you'll see my Blink link. Use the Blink link, and there's the payment information in there. You can choose your whatever choice of payment, but it's only going to be available for a limited time. I am changing my schedule, so do get in there before my schedule is filled. And I want you to know that your time matters, your voice matters. And when your mindset is aligned, your time will follow. So do go to my Blink. Once the payment is made, I will send you a Calendly link. You'll be able to schedule in your time, your session. Okay, so that's where your session scheduling will come in after your payment is made. I'll send you a link. And then from there, I will also give you a bonus 30-minute after our 1 hour, because I want to be able to help you and ask if your prompts, your everything that we set up, once you run it through the AI, once you got it in your calendar, once you actually have it built out, how does it work? Does it work? Did you work it out? Or did you build it out and then you were like me and was like, I need to add this. I need to fix this. I need to put in a change here. Things like that. So I can help with that also, because it's not one and done. You don't just set it and forget it. You can, anytime when you work with AI, you run it through, you look at it, and then you're like, okay, I can figure this out. If it doesn't work for you, then you can always make changes. Okay. So do hop in and go ahead and look at my Blink link. It sounds so funny when I say that. Choose your option of payment and get in on that 50% before it's gone. And I will be able to send you a Calendly link where you can set up your session with me, and we can go from there. But thank you guys all for staying with me. And I know that I went over. Thank you for spending more time with me. I thank you guys all. Have a blessed day. The replay will be uploaded, and it is going to be live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, so you can go ahead and watch it again. All right. So ask away. If you guys have any questions in the comments, ask away, and I will be glad to help. Until next time, have a blessed year, and I hope to see you guys all in our next challenge. Ahui ho.
Thank you for joining us here on the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. Before leaving, please hit that subscribe button. God's blessings always and ahui ho.